So, Aisha, a little earlier we spoke to you and it turned out that that particular court didn't have the jurisdiction in this case. Just give our viewers some background to where we are at this moment in the story.
Okay, so that is correct. The alleged incident took place in August this year in Langebaan. The South African Human Rights Commission then sent their senior representatives to Langebaan yesterday to meet with the complainants in this case. They took statements from them and they then decided that there is a case to be made. And this morning they headed off to the court in Vredenburg. But then that turned out not to be the right court. The chief magistrate said that he didn't have the jurisdiction to, or that was not the right court or the jurisdiction for the case to be heard, and then referred the delegation to the magistrates court here in Hopefield. And I'm told that the Human Rights Commission delegation, along with the complainants, will be arriving shortly to come and lay a charge relating to racism and hate speech against Eben Etzebeth. And also, Michelle, what's important to note that there is also a criminal process in the making. The charges of assault that was levelled against Etzebeth and his brother and two other people, that case is still in the hands of the National Prosecuting Authority, and the NPA still needs to make a decision whether to prosecute Etzebeth or not. So in the meantime, we're waiting here in Hopefield for this Human Rights Commission to arrive with the complainants to start the process of charging Etzebeth with hate speech. But I'm also joined here by a representative of the complainants, because the complainants are not, they've been advised by their lawyers not to speak to the media. They don't want to jeopardize this important case, as they put it. And I'm now going to be speaking to Sammy Claassen, who is the spokesperson for the complainants, and he was telling me earlier that they did get a call from SA Rugby, and that SA Rugby has instituted, as we know, an internal investigation, but that they also now want to talk to the victims. So I'm going to speak to Mr. Claassen now about that call that they got from SA Rugby. Mr. Claassen, what exactly did that call entail?
Hi, good morning, and good morning to your listeners. The call entails a request by the legal representatives of SA Rugby, where they informed our lawyer that they have appointed a retired judge to handle the internal investigation of SA Rugby into the matters of Eben Etzebeth and the alleged assault and racism case. They've requested to see the witnesses and the victims on this coming Monday at 1 o'clock. Our response are very clear. It's too late. 32 days. It took Mark Alexander 32 days to respond. The community last night, we had a huge community meeting in Langebaan. The community have spoken. So our response is very clear. We are proceeding with submitting our legal papers at the Equality Court, at this court in Hopefield today. In my consultation after this call that we received, I consulted the Human Rights Commission and the lawyers, and the legal advice that we were getting is that after we submit our papers today, this morning, there's no way that external parties and third parties can engage directly with the victims or the witnesses, because that will jeopardize the case at the Equality Court. So, to Mark Alexander, please resign, man, because you have disregarded the fact that people were assaulted, people opened up a criminal case and laid charges with the Human Rights Commission. A blatant abuse of power to neglect the duties given to you by SA Rugby. The people of Langebaan have spoken and have mandated us to make a call on SA Rugby, the president in particular, to come to Langebaan and to apologize to the Langebaan community who have been harmed, who have been hurt, and who have been bruised and traumatized by an alleged perpetrator who is now part of the World Cup team.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Michelle, of course, we do know that Mr. Etzebeth is innocent until proven guilty. There are two processes. One that's going to take place in the Equality Court. The Chief Magistrate will then have to decide whether this is the right forum for the matter to be heard. And then, of course, there is the criminal case, which the NPA still needs to decide whether Etzebeth will be criminally charged or not.
For that update, that's my colleague Aisha Ismail live to us there in the Western Cape.